I never wanted it to appear in the film that being a hustler was a joyous, that would have been an educational film.
No movie had such an endless controversy like Superfly did. When the film premiered in 1972, it changed the face of black cinema, but not without backlash. Some saw it as powerful, others as harmful. But the film's legacy goes far deeper than its style, controversy, and soundtrack. Who were the people behind the roles that shaped a generation? And what truths have they kept hidden until now? Join us as we unravel what most fans never figured out. How the streets of Harlem birthed Superfly. Few films have been able to capture the soul of the 1970s Harlem like Superfly did. But behind the film is a story very few people are familiar with. A story born from real street struggles and a small group of dreamers determined to make a movie on their own terms. The film's title itself came straight from the slang of the time. Fly was a popular word used to describe someone stylish or impressive. Philip Fenty, who wrote the script, added a little twist, adding super before it, because it sounded cool. What most people don't realize is that in the movie, Superfly also refers to the quality of the cocaine priest sold. Super, meaning pure, powerful, and dangerous. Philip wasn't a Hollywood insider. He worked at a black-owned advertising agency in New York, creating commercials and learning the art of visual storytelling. Watching the success of Shaft a year earlier inspired him. He saw that black filmmakers were finally breaking into the industry and decided to take his own shot. Using what he knew about marketing, Philip began writing a story that perfectly captures the energy of the world around him. His idea took shape after he read a 1971 New York Magazine article about a Harlem drug dealer known as the Man with the Golden Nose. Soon after, a friend brought a real-life dealer to Fenty's apartment. The man warned him jokingly, "Boy, don't you square up on me," meaning don't act too proper. That offhand comment made its way into the movie's dialogue. Philip described the meeting as one of the most unforgettable nights of his life. It was an up-close glimpse at the world he wanted to capture on film. That same friend, Nate Adams, had grown up with Fenty in Cleveland. At first, he didn't believe in the idea of making a movie, but eventually, Adams joined the project and became one of its creative backbones. He helped shape the film's flashy, unforgettable style. Silk shirts, wide-brimmed hats, fur coats, and long trench coats that screamed confidence. Adams personally hunted for every costume and prop, giving each character a look straight from Harlem streets. He even tracked down the iconic car Priest drove, a Cadillac Eldorado with a Rolls-Royce-style grille and unique headlights, by spotting it at a local shoeshine shop. That car later became one of the most recognizable images in blaxploitation film history. Funding the film was a challenge from start to finish. Fenty and producer Sig Shore used their personal credit cards to keep things afloat, while two black dentists pitched in what they could. Director Gordon Parks Jr. even had to ask his father, the legendary Gordon Parks, who had directed Shaft, to help with money when things got tight. With so little funding, the filmmakers worked like rebels. They had no big studio backing and very little time. According to Adams, they would sneak through New York City at night, dodging the Teamsters Union and police officers while filming without permission. To power their lights, they secretly tapped electricity straight from lampposts.
And we were talking, and he said he had an idea about a film. And being in Harlem.
Despite the chaos, their determination turned into magic. Fenty and Adams walked through Harlem, soaking in the life around them. They observed real pimps and dealers, letting their world shape every frame of the film. And when it came time to cast their lead, they chose someone who truly understood that world. Their old friend from Cleveland, stage actor Ron O'Neal. What past experiences made him the perfect person for this? And what impression did he leave? The Curse of Fame. Long before movie screens flashed his name, O'Neal was just a determined young man from Cleveland with a love for the stage and a hunger to prove himself. His childhood wasn't easy. After painful family losses, his mother worked long hours in a hospital to keep food on the table. Watching her struggle taught him about persistence. One day, a friend invited him to the Karamu House, a small but historic theater known for giving African-American actors a place to shine. That single visit changed everything. Standing under the stage lights, O'Neill felt alive in a way he never had before. He stayed with that theater for years, performing in timeless plays like A Raisin in the Sun and A Streetcar Named Desire. He painted houses during the day and rehearsed at night, never losing faith that acting would one day pay off. Eventually, his ambitions carried him to New York City. There, he taught acting and fought for every role he could find, often facing rejection simply because of how he looked or the color of his skin. O'Neill's big moment arrived when he starred in a small off-Broadway production called No Place to Be Somebody. His portrayal of a clever bar owner determined to control his own destiny struck a chord with audiences. The performance earned him an Obie Award, the kind of recognition that turns unknown actors into stars overnight. That play caught the attention of people in Hollywood who saw something unique in him. Among his admirers was screenwriter Philip Fenty. Philip believed O'Neill was perfect for the role of priest, a man trying to escape a dangerous life with one final move. The part was written for him, and when filming began, O'Neill gave it everything he had. Against all expectations, the film exploded in popularity. Within weeks, it turned into one of the biggest hits of its time. Viewers couldn't get enough of the story, the fashion, or the unforgettable soundtrack. Overnight, Ron O'Neill went from struggling stage actor to global icon. But fame is rarely kind. Critics accused the movie of promoting crime and glorifying the wrong message. Civil rights groups condemned it, claiming it made black life look dangerous and immoral. O'Neill, hurt by the backlash, argued that the story was about a man taking control of his own fate, a message of independence, not destruction.
He's not going to go down Madison Avenue and start an ad agency, I can tell you that. He's not going to become a Jesuit priest.
The weight of criticism pushed him to take a risk. He decided to write and direct a sequel that would give his character a new purpose, one that fought for change instead of survival. The new story took place far from the dark streets that made Superfly famous, trading danger for politics and idealism. But when the movie hit theaters, it flopped. Viewers didn't want a reformed hero. They wanted the cool, mysterious hustler who broke the rules. That failure was a turning point in O'Neill's life, being both a blessing and a curse. How was it a bit of both? A star bound by his own legend. Despite the film putting Ron O'Neill in the limelight, he also ended up trapped by his own success. For 3 long decades, he carried the weight of one unforgettable character on his shoulders. The man who once stunned audiences, as Youngblood Priest, found himself trapped in the shadow of his own success. No matter how hard he tried to move on, Hollywood couldn't see past the sharp suits and smooth talk of his Superfly days. After the film's explosive fame, offers came pouring in, but they all looked the same. Casting directors saw him only as a pimp, a dealer, or a street tough. The range and passion that had once won him theater awards were pushed aside. O'Neill appeared in a series of modest action films and crime dramas, including A Force of One. He even took on the role of a Cuban colonel in the 1984 hit Red Dawn, where he played the main villain. Yet none of these roles allowed him to break free from the mold that Hollywood had built around him. When film opportunities began to dry up, television became his second home. He made guest appearances on popular shows like Hill Street Blues, Murder, She Wrote, and Living Single. He later earned a steady role as a detective in the series The Equalizer, where his calm strength and intelligence reminded viewers of his true skill as an actor. Even so, the dream of being a top movie star had quietly slipped away. Through it all, O'Neill never lost his love for acting. When Hollywood failed to offer meaningful work, he went back to where it all began, the stage. Performing Shakespeare and classic plays reignited his spirit. On stage, he could once again be the artist he started out as, not the stereotype the industry had forced on him. But by then, the film world had already moved on. The promise he showed in his early career was forgotten by many, buried under the legend of Youngblood Priest. In 1996, O'Neill reunited with other stars from the 1970s blaxploitation era, including Pam Grier and Richard Roundtree, in the nostalgic action film Original Gangsters. It was a heartfelt nod to the time when they all ruled the screen, a final salute to an era that had given them fame and, in some cases, taken it away. His last appearance came in the 2002 film On the Edge, a quiet reminder that he had never stopped working, even as the spotlight faded. Unfortunately, on January 14, 2004, Ron O'Neill passed away after a long and painful battle with pancreatic cancer at the age of 66 years old. While Ron O'Neill never fully escaped the shadow of Superfly, another star from the film managed to rise above its stereotypes and carve her own path. But how did she do it? A Stitch in Time. It's been 50 years since Sheila Frasier first appeared on the big screen as Georgia, the loyal girlfriend of Youngblood Priest in the film. Yet even after all this time, she still hears about it almost every week. Frasier often laughs about how people continue to bring up the movie decades later. She admits she never expected Superfly to become such a lasting hit. When she took the role, she simply thought it would be fun to act alongside Ron O'Neill, the charming actor who played Priest. But her journey to that moment had been anything but easy. Behind her poise and grace was a hidden battle that shaped the woman she became.
The first time I saw Ron was doing a play in Greenwich Village, and I was like, who is that cute guy? God,
For much of her youth, Sheila struggled with a severe stutter that made her dream of acting feel unreachable. Her life took a turn at 17 when a movie inspired her to take a leap of faith. She packed her bags for New York City, working as a secretary to pay the bills. One day, while riding the subway, a stranger suggested she try modeling. Though she dipped her toes into runway and print work, she never felt truly at home in front of a camera, at least not as herself. Everything changed when she met Richard Roundtree, the iconic star of Shaft. He saw something special in her and urged her to audition for the Negro Ensemble Company, a respected acting group. That moment unlocked something extraordinary. Whenever Sheila lost herself in a character, her stutter disappeared. Acting didn't just become her passion, it became her cure. With newfound confidence, Sheila auditioned for Superfly, and just 5 months later, she landed the leading female role. Her performance as Georgia wasn't just good acting. It was the reflection of a woman who had conquered her fears in silence. After Superfly and its sequel, Superfly TNT, Sheila appeared in hit 70s films like Three the Hard Way and California Suite, along with TV favorites such as Dallas, The Love Boat, and Cagney and Lacey. But in the early 80s, she made a quiet, life-changing move, stepping behind the camera. In 1982, she joined Richard Pryor's Indigo Productions after a chance meeting with actor Jim Brown, who offered her a job as a story editor. Her task? To read scripts and decide which ones were worth producing. Ironically, one of the biggest misses under her watch was Purple Rain. Still, Sheila's influence continued to grow. She later produced shows for Essence magazine before joining BET, where she led the talent department for 13 years. She became one of the key figures shaping the future of Black entertainment, finding new stars, creating opportunities, and defining the network's voice. While her Superfly co-stars either faded or got stuck in typecast roles, Sheila quietly became a powerhouse executive, shaping the industry from the shadows. But her story was just one of many behind the film. Some of her castmates lived lives that mirrored the movie's struggle, none more so than Julius Harris. What struggles led his life to reflect the same spirit he brought to the screen? From crime to redemption. A year after Superfly, Harris went mainstream, starring as T.He, the hook-handed villain, in the James Bond classic Live and Let Die. His deep laugh and intimidating screen presence made him unforgettable. He went on to appear in King Kong and hit TV shows like Good Times and The Jeffersons. From battlefield medic to Bond villain, Harris's life was filled with reinventions. But his story was mild compared to that of Charles McGregor, who portrayed Fat Freddy, the desperate dealer who betrays Priest.
Fat Freddy, man. What's the matter with the fat man?
McGregor's performance felt strikingly real because it was rooted in his own troubled past. Before acting, he had spent nearly 3 decades cycling through prisons for crimes, including 2 murders. He had only just been released when Superfly began filming. The pain in his role came from real life. After a short film career that included Blazing Saddles and 3 the Hard Way, McGregor completely changed direction. He dedicated his later years to traveling across America, speaking to young people about avoiding crime and poor choices. He even published his life story, Up from the Walking Dead, turning his mistakes into a message of hope. In an ironic twist, the film once accused of glamorizing crime had, within its cast, a man who proved that redemption was possible, transforming from a convicted killer into a voice of guidance for the next generation. The movie, which told a story about ambition and danger, also carried a real-life tragedy that mirrored its fictional world. One of its brightest stars, Carl Lee, became the face of that painful reality. Carl Lee played Eddie, the loyal friend and partner of Youngblood Priest. In the movie, Eddie was the one who couldn't let go of the fast life. He loved the fancy cars, loud music, and endless flow of money. When Priest wanted to quit the drug game, Eddie couldn't understand why anyone would walk away from that kind of power. He famously asked, "You gonna give all this up?" 8-track stereo, color TV in every room. It was one of the film's most iconic lines, spoken by a man who, off-screen, was battling demons of his own. In real life, Carl Lee was an icon in New York's underground art scene. He was smooth, sharp, and effortlessly cool, admired by actors, musicians, and filmmakers alike. Born into talent, Carl was the son of Canada Lee, a famous actor and boxer known for breaking barriers for black performers in the 1940s. Years before Superfly, Carl had already played a dealer in the film The Connection, proving he could bring both charm and complexity to tough roles. But beneath the confident exterior was a man quietly struggling. Behind the charm and calm voice, Carl Lee was living a double life, one that mirrored the dangerous world he acted in. Away from the cameras, Carl battled a powerful heroin addiction that slowly consumed his health and career. What made his story so haunting is how life began to imitate art. On screen, he played a man surrounded by temptation, trying to balance money, loyalty, and survival. Off-screen, he was trapped in a cycle of addiction he couldn't escape. The same energy that made his performances so authentic was drawn from real pain. In the end, the fight became too much. Years of drug use took a heavy toll. Sharing contaminated needles led to an infection that changed his life forever. He contracted HIV at a time when little was understood about the disease. On April 17, 1986, Carl Lee's battle came to a tragic end. He was only 59 years old when he died from an overdose, a victim of the very lifestyle his character seemed to glorify. In Superfly, Youngblood Priest finds a way out. He escapes the game and walks away with his life and money. But in reality, the man who played his closest friend didn't get that ending. The legacy of Superfly isn't just about a stylish film that changed cinema. It's also about the people behind it, artists who lived, struggled, and sometimes paid the ultimate price for their art. Could a modern remake ever capture the same raw power that made the original unforgettable? A classic reimagined for a new generation. The 2018 remake of Superfly brings back the bold spirit of the 1972 classic that shook Hollywood. Directed by the visionary director X, this modern version pays tribute to the original film while adding a sharp, contemporary edge that speaks to today's audiences. The original Superfly made history as part of the 1970s blaxploitation wave, a genre that gave black actors center stage in gritty urban stories filled with crime, power, and survival. It showed African Americans as complex protagonists in their own worlds, even though critics debated its portrayal of drugs and violence. The new film keeps that same energy but reshapes it for modern times. Hollywood is seeing a revival of this bold storytelling style, following other reboots like Shaft and Proud Mary. The new Superfly was made at lightning speed, wrapping up production just 5 months after it started. It stars Trevor Jackson from Grownish as Priest, a smooth, smart drug dealer who wants to escape the dangerous life he built. Jason Mitchell, known for Straight Outta Compton, plays Eddie, Priest's loyal partner. Rapper Big Bank Black joins the cast as the menacing leader of Snow Patrol, a rival Atlanta gang. The film even features a cameo from rapper Rick Ross, adding more swagger to the lineup. Music has always been at the heart of Superfly, and this remake continues that tradition with a soundtrack curated by Future, who also serves as one of the film's producers. Just like Curtis Mayfield's legendary music shaped the tone of the 1972 original, Future's trap-heavy beats give the remake its modern pulse. Fans will even spot a clever nod to the original's famous Pusher Man track woven into the film. This time, the story moves from 1970s Harlem to present-day Atlanta, a city known for its deep hip-hop culture and complex social landscape. The film captures the flashy side of success, with diamond chains and luxury cars, but also dives into the modern struggles faced by the black community. Priest isn't just running from the law. He's navigating police brutality, systemic inequality, and betrayal in a world that tests his morals at every turn. Trevor Jackson's version of Priest is more ambitious than the original character played by Ron O'Neal. While both dream of leaving the drug trade behind, Jackson's Priest aims even higher, seeking one big deal with a Mexican cartel to secure his future. But as he climbs the ladder, he faces danger from all sides: ruthless gangs, corrupt cops, and the risky dream of freedom. The remake updates the look and feel of Superfly for the new generation. The classic Cadillacs and tailored suits are replaced with sleek sports cars and fur coats. Director X, known for music videos by Drake and Rihanna, fills the movie with fast cuts, neon lights, and sharp visuals that mirror the rhythm of hip-hop. Although he tones down the drug scenes to avoid glamorizing addiction, the film still holds its R rating with explosive action, steamy romance, and intense gun battles. While the 1972 Superfly reflected the spirit of the Black Power era, this version taps into today's headlines, touching on police violence and the fight for racial justice. Director X said he wanted the movie to feel real, but not heavy-handed. "It's a black action movie," he explained. "We're not trying to weigh you down with politics. We just want to give you a ride." What other truths about the cast of Superfly are still waiting to be uncovered? And after all these years, has the world finally caught up with the message they were trying to send? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.